Update now on the Hulk Hogan versus Gawker lawsuit. An expert claiming Gawker made millions of dollars when it published the Hulk Hogan sex tape. So now a Pinellas County jury says Gawker should pay Hogan $140 million.
A shocking truth just got exposed about Hulk Hogan's fall from Hollywood has come to light. Once the face of wrestling, he tried to break into the movie business, but his acting career fell apart. His name became even more toxic after a leaked tape, and racist comments rocked his life, with WWE quickly wiping him from their history. But there's something bigger here, something Hollywood doesn't want you to know. Could his failed Hollywood dream have been sabotaged? Tune in as we uncover the real reason behind Hulk Hogan's sudden downfall. Secrets Hollywood has kept hidden for years. The stunted stardom of Hollywood Hogan, Terry Gene Bollea, better known by his ring name, is an iconic figure in professional wrestling whose fame soared during his tenure with the World Wrestling Federation, WWF. Beyond the wrestling ring, he tried to parlay his popularity into a career in Hollywood. Despite his high visibility and memorable persona, his transition to acting was not marked by the same level of success as his wrestling achievements. As time passed, his presence in new film projects diminished, but just as he faded from the spotlight, a secret from his past is about to come out, shaking up everything we thought we knew about him. His acting endeavors included a mix of television roles and lead parts in movies that often attempted to capitalize on his wrestling fame. These roles typically portrayed him as a larger-than-life character, much like his wrestling alter ego. However, the films generally received poor critical reception and did not do well at the box office. The mismatch between his on-screen persona and the demands of diverse acting roles might explain why his film career didn't take off as expected. Furthermore, controversies surrounding him, including personal scandals and public gaffes, may have also impacted his marketability and appeal in the entertainment industry. As a result, film studios and casting directors became less inclined to associate with him, leading to fewer roles and a diminished presence in new movies. Today, he is more likely to be found in roles that echo his past glories in the wrestling world, rather than in fresh cinematic projects. His life took a big turn when a video surfaced that changed everything. This video, released by Gawker, showed him in a private moment with Heather Cole, who at the time was married to his friend, Bubba the Love Sponge Clem. Heather later revealed that her husband had pushed her into these encounters, and she had no idea they were being recorded. This shocking event triggered a series of consequences for everyone involved. The whole situation was so dramatic that it almost felt like a plot from a Hollywood movie. Ironically, though, his troubled past might keep him from ever starring in a film about his own life. To make matters worse, his career took another serious hit when a recording of him making racist remarks was leaked. This led to his firing from WWE in 2015. Some thought he had stepped down, but WWE confirmed that they had actually let him go because of his inappropriate comments. This incident really damaged his reputation and pushed him even further away from the Hollywood scene. Even his famous wrestling persona couldn't save him from the consequences of his own actions. He stepped forward and apologized publicly for his comments, explaining that they didn't truly represent how he feels. As a result, WWE removed all mentions of him from their official website and their online Hall of Fame. It seemed like a strange move. Erasing him online wasn't going to make people forget his long-standing role in wrestling. Soon after, rumors started circulating that WWE might be thinking about bringing him back, despite his controversial past. Even though he often called himself Hollywood Hulk Hogan, his acting career wasn't very impressive. His first movie role was in Rocky III, where he played a wrestler named Thunder Lips. "Thunder Lips is here in the flesh, baby," he famously said. Other wrestlers had also made strides into the film industry, although their success was often limited. Among these were Andre the Giant and Roddy Piper, who both sought to transition their wrestling notoriety into cinematic roles. A standout moment in this crossover came from Roddy Piper in the movie They Live. These wrestlers found that their fame provided an initial platform in Hollywood, but the types of roles they were offered often typecast them as extensions of their ring personas. This was both a blessing and a curse. While it made their transition into acting smoother, it also restricted the depth and variety of roles they could pursue. As such, while their appearances in films added to their legacies, they often struggled to achieve the same level of critical acclaim and versatility that more traditional actors enjoyed. Wrestlers like him followed in these footsteps, looking to carve out their own space in film history, inspired by moments like Piper's iconic line. He managed to do more movies than most wrestlers, and he even had a TV show called Thunder in Paradise. But by the late 90s, his acting opportunities started to fade. His last major film role came in 1998 with The Ultimate Weapon. The kind of action movies he starred in became less popular in the early 2000s, leaving him without much to do in Hollywood. But this wasn't the worst of it. He also tried to help his family break into entertainment, but that didn't go too well either. He used his fame to promote his daughter Brooke's singing career. Although she had a few minor hits, she couldn't really stand out among other blonde pop singers of the early 2000s, despite having a famous dad. He also tried reality TV, creating a show about his family, similar to the Osbournes, but that didn't go as planned either. As his career slowed, Hogan's personal life started falling apart. The unraveling of Hulk Hogan's empire, Hogan Knows Best, first aired in 2005. While wrestling fans liked the show, having his family on TV brought a lot of pressure. In August 2007, his son, Nick, was involved in a serious car accident. His friend, John Graziano, suffered severe brain injuries and will be in a half-conscious state for the rest of his life. John's family sued the Hogans, and the case ended with a settlement. Nick also spent 8 months in prison because of the accident. Not long after the accident, his wife, Linda, asked for a divorce. Their split was messy, and Linda ended up with about 70% of his money. She also accused him of cheating with one of their daughter's friends and even suggested he had a romantic relationship with wrestler Brutus Beefcake, though she later took back that claim. In 2008, Hogan Knows Best was canceled, and this upset him. His personal problems were piling up, and he had to step away from the spotlight. At least he still had his restaurant business, often joking about how much pasta he's eaten over the years. But that wasn't the worst of it. His reputation took some hits. Now some think he might return to the WWE, but as a villain instead of a hero. It's easier for fans to dislike someone controversial than to cheer for them. A successful comeback could even open doors for him in Hollywood again, but it won't be easy. Sylvester Stallone, who originally helped him break into Hollywood, has managed to keep himself and other aging action stars in the spotlight with his movies. Maybe he could join one of those projects in the future. However, he'll need to be careful about every decision he makes because, after all, he knows how quickly things can go wrong when the cameras are always watching. One big reason for this is that Hollywood tastes changed over time. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, audiences were drawn to edgier, more complex characters. Stars like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin became the faces of wrestling's new era, while his clean-cut, heroic persona started to feel outdated. As a result, he found fewer and fewer movie roles, and eventually, his Hollywood career faded away. But this wasn't the worst part. His personal life also began to unravel, and the fallout was just as public as his career decline. In 2012, a tape involving him and Heather Clem, the wife of his friend Bubba the Love Sponge, was leaked without his knowledge. This scandal rocked his reputation. While he successfully sued Gawker Media for $140 million in damages, the tape revealed very private details that further distanced him from Hollywood and tarnished his image. But even this wasn't the last of his troubles. His son, Nick, was involved in a horrific car crash in 2007 that left his friend John Graziano with permanent brain damage. Nick, who was driving recklessly, was charged and served a brief sentence in jail. This tragedy brought even more unwanted attention to the Hogan family, and it led to the cancellation of their reality show, Hogan Knows Best. What had started as a way to keep him in the public eye backfired, as the show's ending only highlighted the dark times the family was going through. The divorce, the car crash, and the tape scandal took a heavy toll on his image, but there was more. During the mid-90s, he was caught up in the WWE's steroid scandal. He had long promoted a clean, healthy image, telling kids to say their prayers and take their vitamins. But it was later revealed that he had used steroids for years to maintain his muscular build. He initially denied the claims, even going on TV to defend himself, but he eventually admitted in court that he had used steroids for over a decade. Although he was granted immunity from prosecution, the admission hurt his credibility, and it was a major blow to his reputation. Still, he wasn't one to back down easily. Over the years, he made several attempts to return to WWE and rebuild his image. In 2018, WWE reinstated him in their Hall of Fame, but his relationship with fans and the wrestling world remained complicated. Despite his efforts to move past the scandals, his reputation has never fully recovered. His time as wrestling's golden boy may be over, but his legacy, good and bad, continues to be a topic of conversation. But what many people don't realize is that behind his public struggles, there was another side to his career that wrestling fans whisper about: his backstage politics. For years, he was rumored to have used his influence to stay at the top of the wrestling world. Stories have circulated that he would refuse to lose matches or push down rising stars if he felt threatened by them. One famous example occurred at WrestleMania 9, when Bret Hart, one of wrestling's most skilled performers, was forced to lose his title to Yokozuna. Just minutes later, he swooped in and won the championship from Yokozuna in less than 30 seconds, stealing the spotlight. So, while his public image was one of a heroic, all-American wrestler, his backstage reputation was much more complicated. In interviews years later, he even admitted to being a backstage politician, saying it was necessary to stay on top for as long as he did. Whether you see it as smart business or selfish behavior, it's clear that his influence behind the scenes played a big role in his lasting success. At the end of the day, his life has been a roller coaster of highs and lows. He reached the peak of fame as a wrestling superstar and tried to conquer Hollywood, but his personal choices and the scandals that followed have left a mixed legacy. While he remains one of the most recognizable figures in wrestling, the darker chapters of his life are a reminder that fame often comes with a price. Just when things seemed bad, more scandals made his life even messier. Scandals and strife. Beyond the ring. His life, both in and out of the wrestling ring, has been filled with highs and lows, but it's his personal life and scandals that have often taken center stage. After his split with his wife Linda in 2007, the fallout wasn't just a typical celebrity divorce. Linda made some pretty shocking claims during this time, including accusing him of having an affair with wrestler Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Though she eventually took back that statement, the damage had already been done. The media storm surrounding their divorce was intense, and it led to him losing a big chunk of his assets. Linda walked away with about 70% of their wealth, leaving him financially strained. But this wasn't the worst part. Around the same time, in 2007, his son, Nick, was involved in a serious car accident. He was driving recklessly, which led to a crash that left his passenger and friend, John Graziano, with severe and permanent brain injuries. Nick was charged with reckless driving and ended up serving just a few months in jail, which many people felt was too lenient considering the seriousness of the crash. This tragedy brought even more negative attention to the Hogan family, and it caused their reality show, Hogan Knows Best, to be canceled. What had once been a way to connect with fans turned into a painful reminder of their personal struggles. By the time 2015 rolled around, another major scandal hit him. This time, it wasn't just a personal issue, but one that shocked fans worldwide. Transcripts from a secretly recorded tape surfaced, revealing him making racist remarks. In the recording, he used racial slurs while talking about his daughter Brooke's dating life, expressing his discomfort with her being involved with a black man. This revelation led to his immediate removal from WWE's Hall of Fame and caused the wrestling world to cut ties with him completely. Although he later apologized, saying there wasn't a racist bone in his body, the harm to his reputation was severe, and it took a long time for him to start repairing the damage. It's important to note that while these scandals are the most publicized parts of his life, they don't entirely define his career. His wrestling success is undeniable, but his personal choices have left a mark on his legacy. Still, he has continued to try to stay relevant in the public eye, even attempting to return to WWE several times. However, the road to redemption hasn't been easy, and his reputation remains complicated. At first, he denied these accusations on national television. But during a court case in 1994, where WWE's owner Vince McMahon was on trial for distributing steroids to wrestlers, he admitted he had been using steroids for over 10 years. Although he didn't face legal consequences because of his testimony, the confession hurt his image, especially with fans who had looked up to him as a clean living role model. But this wasn't the only thing that tarnished his legacy. Behind the scenes in wrestling, his influence wasn't just about his in-ring skills. He was also known for his backstage politicking. It's been said for years that he used his status to keep himself on top, sometimes at the expense of other wrestlers. One well-known incident happened at WrestleMania 9, when Bret Hart, one of the best technical wrestlers in the business, was supposed to be the star. However, after Hart lost the championship match, he stepped in and won the title from Yokozuna just minutes later, stealing the spotlight from Hart. Years later, he admitted that he used his power behind the scenes to stay at the top of the wrestling world. He saw it as necessary for his long-term success in the business. Whether you view this as smart strategy or self-serving behavior, there's no denying that it allowed him to dominate the wrestling world for decades. But that wasn't the end of his troubles. In 2015, another scandal hit him hard. This time, it wasn't about steroids or wrestling, but about something much more damaging to his reputation. Transcripts from a leaked tape revealed him making racist remarks, which shocked his fans and the wrestling industry. This led to WWE cutting all ties with him, even removing him from the Hall of Fame. He apologized and said he didn't have any racist intentions, but the damage to his image was significant and long-lasting. So while his wrestling career is legendary, it's clear that his backstage actions and personal scandals have played a huge role in shaping how people see him today. He's tried to rebuild his reputation, but it hasn't been an easy road. His attempt to break into reality TV with Hogan Knows Best started off looking pretty good. The show gave fans a peek into his family life, even if some parts were clearly staged. It was popular at first because people loved getting to see what he and his family were like at home. But soon, things took a bad turn. His personal life started falling apart right in front of the cameras, and the show's success quickly faded. One of the biggest blows came when his son, Nick, got into a terrible car accident in 2007 that left his friend, John Graziano, with severe injuries. The legal trouble that followed, along with the bad press, led to the cancellation of the show. He also tried using the show to help launch his daughter Brooke's music career. He put a lot of effort into pushing her into the spotlight, but unfortunately, Brooke's career never really took off the way they hoped. The show, which was supposed to keep him relevant and boost his family's fame, ended up doing more harm than good. But this wasn't the worst part. As his family life unraveled in public, his once strong reputation started crumbling as well. While his achievements in wrestling are still recognized, his legacy has been heavily damaged by his personal mistakes and controversies. Hollywood and the wrestling world began to distance themselves from him, and his fame started to fade. What once made him a hero to millions became overshadowed by scandals. Although he tried to make a few comebacks in the WWE, the entertainment industry mostly moved on without him. His story, once defined by his larger-than-life wrestling persona and the phenomenon of Hulkamania, became more about the personal failures and scandals that followed him. Could Hulk Hogan ever fully recover his tarnished reputation, or will his scandals forever overshadow his legacy? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.